Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The Knicks are down 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but don't count them out just yet. The Pacers closed out Game 4 the same way they won it, with chaos, and it's now or never for Bryce Young and the Panthers.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Indiana Pacers are one game away from the NBA Finals, which means the New York Knicks are on the brink. A 130-121 win for the Pacers at home in Game 4. They now take a commanding 3-1 lead. Gavin Shaw from Locked On Knicks joins me now. And Gavin, you can't fake desperation, and it is often difficult to match in these situations. We saw that for the Knicks really in Game 3. We saw it for the Wolves in Game 3. But that's not enough. What did they need in Game 4 that they didn't get?
Lineup optimization is where I would lean, and that is something that has been missing this entire season. I've been on this bandwagon pretty much the whole year of starting Deuce McBride, of playing 5 out. I think that is the only way you maximize Karl-Anthony Towns while still maintaining some defensive integrity. I feel like it's even more important to get in this matchup against this Indiana team where you also need someone who can actually navigate screens against Tyrese Halliburton, which Mikal Bridges has struggled with. And yet in this game, despite quote unquote, I say quote unquote, he literally did not start Josh Hart. So I guess give him credit for that. Josh Hart still plays 20 minutes in the first half, second on the team in minutes, plays 36 minutes for this game. You can look at the box score, 12 points, 11 rebounds, and talk yourself into, he did Josh Hart stuff out there, which he did, had some big moments, had some good moments. This is not me hating Josh Hart. This is me hating Josh Hart in this particular team configuration under a Tom Thibodeau coached offense. I mean, you just see over and over again at the end of these games, like Jalen Brunson's drives getting cut off because Andrew Nembhard comes all the way off Josh Hart to double him when Jalen had beat his man. You see OG Anunoby committing an offensive foul because I think Aaron Nesmith had ended up on Josh Hart, and he rotates all the way over. And OG should have a layup if Deuce McBride or even Landry Shamet or even DeLon Wright, just another shooter out there instead of someone that Indiana just doesn't have to guard. And it's an offensive foul. He in this game, I thought, contributed nothing on the ball, nothing off the ball aside from offensive rebounding. And on top of that, his defense was just atrocious. I thought back cut twice by Benedict Mathurin for dunks. It was just not good. He was beat on the ball defensively. Mikal Bridges, I thought, had a really rough game in this one, despite some hot shooting late. It was just not enough from those two in particular. When you got a great game from OG Anunoby, I think you got pretty good, if not A+ games from Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. And it just sort of comes down to Tom Thibodeau, 90+ games in the season, having never really experimented with what on paper should be his best lineup when Deuce coming into this one had a plus 25.4 net rating in this series.
And there's been discussions over the last few games, the usage of Mitchell Robinson versus Karl-Anthony Towns when he sat Karl-Anthony Towns for long stretches of the fourth quarter in Game 2. This has been a trend. And as you mentioned, you have been on it on Locked On Knicks all season. Tyrese Halliburton, a triple-double. And if you look at his numbers against Jalen Brunson, you go, okay, Jalen is more than holding his own here. He's doing what he needs to do. But Halliburton has controlled the pace in a different kind of way and set up his team in a different kind of way. Are we seeing the logical conclusion of a Jalen Brunson-led offense in the playoffs, or is there something unique about this matchup?
No, I mean, I don't think the offense is being maximized in any way. I think with 5 shooters, I think you would see life for Jalen Brunson be substantially easier, but I think it is also a credit to the relative perimeter defense of the two teams. Like Aaron Nesmith, even playing on a bum ankle, his ability to navigate screens on Jalen and like Jalen gets him a good amount. Like I think Jalen wins the majority of those battles, and yet it is hard because instead of turning the corner like Tyrese Halliburton does, and he sees Jalen Brunson often trying to hedge and recover. And that is a twofold problem for the New York Knicks. It is Mikal Bridges, unlike Nesmith, not getting up on like having a high pickup point on Halliburton at the point of attack and not allowing him to just have that screen, which Mikal, who came to New York as a supposed elite screen navigator, and it has just not been there all season long for him. He has struggled in that respect. He hasn't been able to get around the screens. And then you see Brunson hedging and recovering, and all Halliburton has to do is wait a second for Brunson to show up, bail, and then he just turns the corner. And as long as Towns is preoccupied with Miles Turner, he's getting layup after layup, which you saw down the stretch of this game. Instead of just switching Brunson, which is not a great option, but I think is the better of two evils. I say none of that to denigrate what Tyrese Halliburton did. I mean, the dude is like, I don't know how you can argue he's not a top 10 player in the league at this point. It's fair when people say, all right, name your list then. Like maybe if I've named my list, that gets a little harder for me, but the guy is just extraordinary. And I said it on another, I think the Locked On NBA podcast I did over the weekend. I really think he's not as good as these guys, but he's the next up in that Steve Nash, Steph Curry lineage of just like, I don't know the right way to describe it, but just being the defining character on a unique offense that consistently punches well above its weight. And it's due to his shooting, his IQ, his understanding of space. He is just a brilliant basketball player.
You can stay up to date all year on the New York Knicks by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Knicks on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, we recap a chaotic end to Game 4 from the Pacers' perspective. Before we get to that, Terry Bradshaw is cool if the Steelers stop pursuing Aaron Rodgers. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between the dining out, the online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. Track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Quarterback wasn't the problem in Pittsburgh, at least according to Terry Bradshaw. In a radio interview, Bradshaw chastised the Steelers for their continued pursuit of Aaron Rodgers, blaming the coaching and offensive line for their recent struggles. Go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there, Bradshaw said on air about Rodgers. That's a joke. He's talking about signing Rodgers is a joke. To me, it's just a joke. Stars are now on the verge of elimination after falling again to the Oilers.
It's getting late early out there if you're a Dallas Star. Nick Sararis have Locked On Oilers here after a convincing Edmonton Oilers win to take a 3-1 series lead in the Western Conference Finals on a night where the Edmonton Oilers lost Zach Hyman to injury early in the game. The Oilers put together a very well-rounded, solid defensive effort. Stuart Skinner once again making a difference. The Stars controlled a decent amount of play, definitely a majority of the offensive zone time in this game. And for the first time in this postseason, you saw the Edmonton Oilers power play really be the deciding factor in a close game. Prior to the empty net goals towards the backstretch of this game, it was a pair of power play goals that got the Oilers the lead, and you got to be very happy if you're an Oilers fan sitting here up 3-1, a little bit of breathing room. But of course, the hardest win in any series, as any player will tell you, is the closeout game. So ahead of Thursday night's action, be sure to check out Locked On Oilers wherever you get your podcast to get situated, just in case the Oilers go back to the Stanley Cup final. Be sure to check out Locked On Oilers wherever you get your podcasts or over on YouTube.
The Dodgers took it on the road and clobbered the Guardians.
Well, that's 2 games in a row that the whole offense decided to get involved. I'd say that's a good formula for the Dodgers. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. Dodgers beat the Guardians 9-5. Wasn't even that close. Luis Garcia gave up a couple meaningless runs in the bottom of the ninth. But Dodgers got home runs for Shohei Ohtani. No surprise. Max Muncy, bit of a surprise. Michael Conforto, who? And everybody in the starting lineup got a hit. Bunch of guys scored. You put up 9 runs, you're going to win a bunch of games. Dustin May was fine. Got through 5 innings, gave up a big 3-run homer, but otherwise was pretty solid. And all in all, this was the offense winning this game and saying, we don't care who's pitching, how well he does. We're going to win this game for us. That's what the Dodgers did. And there's 2 games in a row now that the offense has really showed up. Hopefully that's something they can keep going, finishing up this series in Cleveland and then heading home to take on the Yankees. Be sure to check out Locked On Dodgers first thing every weekday morning on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts.
The national champion Florida Gators are losing some major pieces to the NBA draft, but the front court has some other plans, with forward Alex Condon announcing his withdrawal from the draft on Tuesday. All 4 big men that were instrumental in the Gators title run are now officially running it back with Todd Golden. It's not, the exact same as what happened in 2007, but it's clear unfinished business, too good to walk away from in Gainesville. The Indiana Pacers are 1 win away from advancing to the NBA Finals. Locked On Pacers host Tony East recapped a thrilling Game 4 victory for Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers from Indiana.
Pascal Siakam with the quietest 30-point game in conference finals history. Aaron Nesmith is made of vibranium, and the Pacers have 3 wins against the New York Knicks after just 4 games. What a night for the Pacers. I wanted to talk about adjustments to lead off today's show. The Pacers had quite a few, and I really wanted to talk about their ability to identify changes the Knicks were making and immediately reply to them. And we will talk about those things later. None of those deserve to be the lead today. Tyrese Halliburton deserves to be the lead today, and Benedict Mathurin and Pascal Siakam deserve a ton of time today, and Aaron Nesmith deserves a ton of time today. Tyrese Halliburton, with Pacers legends in the building everywhere, with his dad back in the arena, with Reggie Miller 2 feet away, just delivered one of the greatest performances from a Pacers player ever, especially on this stage. A chance to seize control of a conference final series against the team's longtime rivals right after a game that he pointed to himself post-game and said, "This is on me. It was my fault. Game 3 went that way." The Pacers lost their pace. Halliburton's a pace setter. Their offensive flow wasn't there. He's in charge of a lot of that. They never looked like the Pacers. He is the guy who makes all that possible. And he said it, and everybody else took their own blame for it, but it's what Tyrese Halliburton is amazing at. Responding with his dad in a suite, he responded. What a game from Tyrese Halliburton. 32 points, 12 rebounds, by far his most exceptional compared to expectation stat. 12 boards in this game. Pascal Siakam joking post-game that Halliburton stole some rebounds from him. 15 assists. That requires your teammates to make shots, and they did. The Pacers with 29 assists in this game. Halliburton had over half of them. The Knicks had 17 assists as a team. Tyrese Halliburton had 15 by himself. 4 steals. The Pacers had 11 as a team. He had a third of them. The Knicks had 7 total. And the one that always stands out with Tyrese Halliburton, 0, like the number on his jersey, turnovers in the game. Rick Carlisle joking afterwards that there will eventually be a stat named after Tyrese Halliburton, likely related to the 0 turnovers. Triple-double, no turnovers on this stage. Are you kidding me? That is as good as it possibly gets for Tyrese Halliburton, who had an exceptional game in the in-season tournament against the Celtics last year with 26, 10, and 13 with no turnovers, but a triple-double in the playoffs last year against the Bucks, albeit not close to the scoring output. This is his 3rd triple-double. They've all been on huge stages. This one on the biggest stage yet. This one featuring by far his best ever game. He would not be denied. And I thought that this one, when people talk about Tyrese Halliburton being aggressive, I frequently think that they are over-indexing on him just getting to the rim and trying to score in the paint. Don't get me wrong. That is a huge part of Tyrese Halliburton's success. But when he talks about his own aggressiveness, this is the kind of game, I can't talk, that he is referring to. When he gets into the paint and can make plays from there. Yes, he hit 5 threes. Right wing, 3 at the top of the key, 1 on the left wing. But he hit 2 jumpers right at the top of the key. He took his floater 3 times. He did score 4 times right at the basket, but he was getting shots from everywhere because he was penetrating and trying to get 2 feet in the paint to keep the Pacers offense flowing. And of course, by the way, 15 assists. Unbelievable passing game from him, as is customary for a guy who is among the best passers in the NBA right now. And they all go to different guys. 3 of his first 4 to Nesmith, then Toppin, Siakam, Nembhard, Nesmith again, Tony Bradley, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin again, the dagger, 3 late in the 4th quarter. He found everybody in all sorts of ways, for 3s, for 2s, for everything. Every single thing that makes Tyrese Halliburton an exceptional player. And the reason I said I thought it was so dumb even though I understood why they did it, why they were so wrong when he got voted overrated, is because no one is this central without being able to have turnovers, right? I don't want to stray too far from the Pacers. I cover the Fever and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is an unbelievable passer. She has 3 or 4 turnovers every night. That's not to take away from what she does. That is an expected volume of turnovers for someone who passes and has as many assists as someone like Tyrese Haliburton does with this frequency. He has 0 or 1 all the time. And as I talk about on the show, when he has 2 in a game, it is agonizing. You can see him so frustrated with himself because he overthrew a pass or he misread something with somebody. He hates it. It is so rare. And he's not doing the Darren Collison 7 assists a game. Darren Collison in the building tonight. Darren Collison, fine passer. He was doing a lot of simple stuff. Here, you on the wing, take this. Here, you in the post, take this. Tyrese Haliburton is jumping through the air, pirouetting, lobbing it across the court between defenders, flinging it 30 feet ahead in transition to his running teammates. Risky, challenging, difficult passes that very few players in the league can actually make, and even fewer actually throw because of the risks that they come with. Tyrese Haliburton says, no problem. No problem. He was one of 4 players with 9 or more assists per game this season. The other 3 being Cade Cunningham, Nikola Jokic, and Trae Young. Cade Cunningham averaged 4.4 turnovers per game, Jokic 3.3, Trae Young 4.7. Tyrese Haliburton was 1.6. I know that these numbers are known, but this is what makes him so dominant when he's at his absolute best like this. He does not mess up these high leverage passing plays, and his teammates make the shots, and he gets in the paint, and he's flicking in jumpers that he loves, and he's making threes, and the Tony Eastat is coming. He took 11 twos in this game. An absolutely unbelievable, one of the best Pacers performances ever game from Tyrese Haliburton, who had 20, 10, and 8 at halftime. That alone would have made him probably the lead discussion point for this show.
Stay up to date all year on the Indiana Pacers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Pacers on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, it's now or never for Bryce Young in Carolina. Carolina quarterback Bryce Young ended last season on a positive note. Locked On NFL host Tyler Roland believes that while the vibes in the offseason may be good, that's not going to save Young if he and the Panthers flop in 2025.
Yeah, it feels like a big leap from where we are. Like
it does.
As well as he played down the stretch last season, I have a particular expertise on teams with bad quarterbacks that have a really good 8-game stretch. I remember when Nick Trubisky was an NFC Player of the Month and had a really good stretch. Justin Fields has had really good stretches. Like, not to say that Bryce Young can't take that leap forward and won't continue to get better, but one good end of a season where things were kind of going well in an otherwise lost season, to me, I'm not sold that he's going to come in this year and just make that huge leap and take another big step forward. Like, he still only had like 2,500 yards last season. Like, we can slow down a little bit here.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. I'm with you there, but I guess from this perspective, that's the optimistic outcome, is that he becomes that. So I acknowledge that as an outcome, but for me, it is now or never for Bryce Young. I think this season, his 3rd year in the NFL, he played better at the back half of last season. He's obviously got better coaching. They go out, they get Teteroa McMillan to go with him. They just got him Xavier Legette the year before that. Now we can debate how good Legette is going to be. You still have Adam Thielen. Like, they add help up front, and it really helped last year with the guards and everything. I see a running back room that could get better. Of course, they're dealing with some injuries there right now, but it's not awful. And they add Rico Dowdle, who I'm a fan of, left Dallas to go there. So I think they have stuff around Bryce Young. I think what Bryce Young is going to be in the NFL will be known by the end of this year. I think whether he is a surefire, hey, this guy's good enough to be a starter, we're going to keep building around him, or, hey, we're going into Bryce Young's last year of his rookie contract, 5th-year option, whatever, what they want to do with that. The 4th year of Bryce Young's rookie contract, if he's not the guy, we know it. We're going to be looking for other options, especially in a draft class that is pretty good. So I think the hot seat player, I know this is a weird way to do it, but the hot seat is Bryce Young, because if he doesn't continue to prove that he's the guy who he was the end of last season, then the Panthers are probably going to be looking to move on by next offseason.
It always depends on the owner. And there have been disagreements before between coaches, GMs, and owners. And guess who wins? owners. It sounds like that's what happened when the Carolina Panthers drafted Bryce Young. That could give him a little extra leash because the owner is going, no, that's my guy. Or that could make it easier for a new coaching staff and front office to say, this was the guy you wanted. Let's go in a different direction. Now, plenty of owners would say, well, someone's got to take the fall for this because it can't be me. I'm not taking the heat. We got to fire the GM or we got to move on from the coach. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen in Carolina. Will they get the rare reset here where everyone just gets a chance to, oh, sorry, our bad? There's a logic to that. There's a reason why that maybe would be the best thing for the team to do. But these are billionaires and there's ego. And this could get ugly. And finally, although Lexi Thompson stood before golf fans in tears a year ago, signaling what many thought was a full farewell from the LPGA Tour, she's made it clear now that she's not done yet. The 30-year-old Thompson is about to make her 19th consecutive U.S. Women's Open start. I will say that again. Lexi Thompson, who is 30 years old, is about to make her 19th straight U.S. Women's Open start. Maybe the schedule has slowed down her competitive fire. Doesn't seem like it's gone anywhere. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, is it closing time for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.